Kate Archibald, and I am really excited to be here today. And we have an awesome, amazing topic that Reagan's going to be going over today. So today we're going to be talking about the Dow of the healthcare entrepreneur mindset, and really what you need to look at, how you need to be thinking, and looking at growing and expanding, so you can help more people and be more influential in the healthcare scene. So um, before we get started, I want to remind everybody we do have, if you're a client, please make sure you registered for this Saturday, Sunday event, January 21st, 22nd at the Marina Del Rey Marriott. We're excited to see everyone, so get ready to have an amazing event, amazing weekend, and we'll have a good time. And for any of the guests on, we have quite a few guests on today that are either new to Go Wellness, or maybe you've been following us for a little while, just um, haven't became a client at this point. But I would really uh, get registered for that event. I think you got a couple more days to receive the discount on the event. You can either get both days, or just come for the Saturday, or come for the Friday, Saturday. But if you need a link or anything, you should already have those. But if not, email me at info@gowellness.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you this weekend. So let's get on to what we're working on today. So Reagan, I'm going to turn it over to you to go over the Dow, the healthcare entrepreneur mindset.
Okay, thanks, Cade, and welcome everybody. I see some awesome people on the webinar today. We have some people who I have no idea who you are, so I hope to get to meet you in person, but really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. And I wanted to let you guys know I got my next book is almost published. This will be book number 3, and I just wanted to get your insights. Do you like this cover? Do you not? This is the Acupuncture Blueprint for Success formula, which many of you are in that program. We have our Healthcare Entrepreneur program. We've got our Functional Medicine programs, our Stem Cell programs. We've got a lot of different programs. This is one of them, but this is a whole book on one of my passions, which is structural alignment acupuncture. So just tell me honestly, yes or no. Do you like the cover? Do you not? But you guys are the very first to get a glimpse of this. I just got this back from my editor like 15 minutes ago. So yeah, let me know yes or no. You vote yes, you like it. No, it's horrible. If you have any insights, let me know. But I think it looks pretty rad. I'm really excited about it, and I will be making this available within the next couple of weeks as a free download, so you can get the free digital copy of this. Phenomenal books. Wrote it from the soul, so I think you guys will dig it. But all right,
I
so
think
let's jump.
I think it looks pretty sexy, Reagan.
I appreciate that, Cade. I do. Did we have anyone else who on our poll? How'd we do?
Um, I haven't seen many speak up. So you guys, if you type in either you can type in a question in the question box, or you can type it in the chat box. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. We want to make this as interactive as possible. We got a couple saying it looks cool, looks good, awesome.
Okay. Thanks, guys. All right. Well, let's jump in. Today, this weekend is going to be the best training we've ever put on in the history of Go Wellness. Um, I can't tell you how excited I am about it. We're going to have some really incredible presenters. Of course, Kate will be there. I'll be there. We'll have Dan Kelman's there. He's doing a presentation on the gut health and case studies. The case studies he's going to take you through will rock your world. He's actually going to be talking about using structural alignment acupuncture on a 3-year-old. So lots of cool stuff Friday. Friday will start at 1 o'clock. It's going to be at the Marina Del Rey Marriott for you acupuncture, the structural alignment acupuncture peeps. And then Saturdays, we're going to jump into the training, the functional medicine training, and we'll also have a separate room where we're going to be training you on how to be a healthcare entrepreneur. We'll train your team. We're going to go through all the scripts, the report of findings, marketing, all the office flow, and then Sunday is going to be straight up just role play. I'm going to have some motivational rap songs that we'll be playing and videos both Saturday and Sunday. And I think the overall theme is really how can you stick with healthcare for the long run, because if you look at it, I was trained to look at quarters, look at your life as 25-year segments, and so that puts a lot less pressure on you. And if you want to grow 10 times, all you have to do is grow 1% every single quarter. And in order to grow 1% every quarter, you just work on 5 main projects, 5 things that are really going to move the needle for you, and then you don't get stressed. So the Tao of the Healthcare Entrepreneur is all about taking care of your own body, your own mind, your own spirit, so that you can keep practicing this medicine and loving it and being rejuvenated by it forever. So I'm going to start out by reading the Tao Te Ching. This is verse 11, and it says, 30 spokes share the will's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes that make it useful. Therefore, benefit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. So I think if you look at this, you want to look at how you can be the most useful piece that you can have is your mindset. And the mindset is not necessarily it's what's not there, and it's missing in a lot of us. So let's jump into the 8 main mindsets, and then I'm going to talk about a few more. We'll finish up the conversation from last week, but we'll talk more about the skill sets of the visionary leader. But let's go through the Tao of the Health mindset, because I want you guys to be ready for this weekend. I know a lot of you are registered for the event. You're fired up for it, but very first thing we need to do if you want to grow, if you want to experience life from new dimensions, is you have to have the proper mindset. So the first mindset, there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that just fine. The first mindset is the Tao of 10 times results. Now, I just kind of explained the preface to this, but the overall mantra from the Tao Te Ching is, if you look at verse 30, Lao Tzu wrote, just do what needs to be done, achieve results, but never glory in them. So 10 times results does not mean work 10 times harder. The reason why we talk about doing 10 times versus 2 times is because it forces you to think completely different in your mind. And so if you take, for example, if you're just looking at your business from a pure numbers, like gross revenues perspective, then what you would say is, well, right now my case average fee, when a person comes into my office and they will spend, on average, of everyone who comes in, we have, 50 new patients that come in every year, and they all spend $1,000, then you're going to end up having $50,000 will be your gross collections. Well, what if we just changed that and we said, well, how could you grow that 5 times? Well, then you just increase the case value to 5,000. And how could you grow it 10 times? Well, then you would just have the same 50 people, and each one of them came in and paid $10,000 for your programs, or $10,000 over the course of a year. Then what you would have is a clinic that was generating 500,000. And so you didn't even work any harder for that. All you did is offer more services and offered greater pre-education before they came in, and provided a better value. You provided something that they really believed in and that allowed them to be willing to spend $10,000. But this is a concept that's very difficult for people to grasp, because they always think it's the money that gets in the way, but it's actually not. It's the value that you're presenting. And so the Tao of 10 times results, there's different mindsets that come along with this. And as I go through these different mindsets, I want you guys to score yourself. So you guys actually have to participate and score yourself, or else Cade's going to shock you through the computer. Right, Cade? Yep, he's got me. So
Yes. Sorry, it took me a second to get my mute button.
no worries. So categories 1 through 3. When you think of 10 times results, You are overwhelmed and don't see how 10 times growth would create harmony in your life and your practice. So, is that you? 4 through 6. Your limitations to 10 times results are self-imposed and you can't seem to get out of short-term thinking. So remember, 10 times, it doesn't have to be tomorrow. This can be 25 years from now. You just grow 1% every quarter for the next 100 quarters and you'll be there. But I bet you'll do it a lot faster if you just, stick with this. Okay, 7 through 9. You've designed your life and practice in a way that has produced 10 times results and are content with it. So those of you who feel like, oh, I've already done that, because I've done 10 times. I'm with you. I've done it. Let's see, I've done 10 times almost, holy smokes, I've almost done it 5 times over in the course of 13 years that I've been practicing. So I bet you could do it. I bet you've done this too, but to be content with it, that means you're just like, oh, I reached the level of success I want. 10 through 12, you know how to organize your 10 times thinking to break free of any bottlenecks that prevent results. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through an exercise in our training Saturday morning, and we're going to isolate all of the bottlenecks, all the things that are preventing you from growth, and we're going to start isolating those, and then you're going to work with a partner at getting rid of those. So this is psychology. It's all psychology. It's all between your ears. So how did you guys score? Please send your scores in on the first category. Okay, so 10 times results, just to give you a synopsis, this is where you're looking at 10 times greater freedom in your life, and that includes in relationships. You have 10 times more meaningful relationships, 10 times higher quality of service and care, 10 times better revenue, 10 times better purpose. You just feel excited about every day, 10 times more energy because you're doing what you love, 10 times more focus because you're not doing the tasks that you shouldn't be doing. You're giving those to people who love doing it. Those are all 10 times. I mean, the financial and the revenue side, that does come, and that's an important piece, but everything else has to be in place first. The revenue is the very last thing, and a lot of people want the revenue to be first. They just want that the cash to come right in, and they have no foundation built upon it. They offer no better value, no additional training's been done. So yeah, tell me how you scored on that. Okay, number 2, the Dow of Simplicity. Now, all of these mindsets, you'll see they kind of flow into each other. So hopefully you guys like this process. I spent almost my entire Saturday putting this cool thing together. I had a great time. The Tao of Simplicity, from the Tao Te Ching, Chapter 9, better to stop short than to fill to the brim. So 1 through 3, if you're not, for simplicity, when I talk about simplicity, this is how you feel. You are constantly bogged down by all of your obligations and can't make any new commitments. This is the person who feels like there's no way. The obligation, what are the obligations that are on your shoulders right now? You feel like you're obligated to be a good parent. You feel like you're obligated to go to the school meetings, or maybe you feel obligated to be a practitioner. You feel obligated that your patients depend on you, so you're the only one that can adjust them. Or you're the only one that can do acupuncture on them, or the only one that can do the functional medicine visits. So you feel that sense of obligation. Because obligation and commitments are two different things. It's the same side of the different coin, or the same coin, it's two different sides, and what it is a commitment is where you're excited. You say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it happen. But when you have so many obligations in your way and you need to get approval from all different aspects of your life for you to move forward, that's when you have obligations, and that's going to really bog you down. So when I say, just to give you a differentiation, obligation versus commitment, those are two completely separate things. You can commit to come to the event this weekend, but I don't want you to feel obligated. If you feel obligated, and it's going to be a lot of work for me to get your energy to shift, but I bet we could get it done anyways. Okay, 4 through 6. You've worked very hard to get where you are now, but feel increasing complexity at the next level. So you want to grow, and I've seen many of you who are on this webinar, you want to grow, but you don't know. You keep doing things the same way you've always been doing them. You're still adjusting, you're still doing your acupuncture in the same method, and you're not breaking up your schedule into the 10-10-10 rule like we talk about with all of you. And so this is going to be where you rate yourself, because to grow you feel like, wow, that feels so stressful, Reagan, and it's complex, and I don't know how to do it, and I don't know how to do marketing, and I don't know how to persuade people, and I don't know how to add in new services, and I don't know how to get labs, and I don't know how to read them. And so you just feel this increasing complexity, but you want to move to the next level. 7 through 9 is where you've already achieved a comfortable level of simplicity and have learned from your experiences. So, I like the saying that you can experience the same thing every year for 30 years and learn nothing, or you can learn from your experiences every year and have 30 different learning opportunities throughout the next 30 years. And so that's where those are the people I want to work with, people who are willing to simplify their life and commit to particular activities that are going to make things a lot bigger and better. Some of you may think, oh, I've already got my life simplified and I'm good, I don't need anything new, but I'll tell you what, the universe, right when you stop growing, you can expand or you can shrink, but the universe will want things back very quickly from you. So, okay, now 10 through 12, you're 100% committed to letting go of complexity from the past so that you can transform your future. So that energy is much better. That's where you can really start to see that the only way you can move forward is by simplifying your life. And there's a lot of tools that we train you on in simplification. One of those is using technology. There's really good, the technology just in running your labs, for example, very easy to get a complete printout of what's going on with the person's health. And then reach out to your coaches at Go Wellness, and we'll help you put those processes together, and we'll show you how to think about it so that it becomes more of thinking about how you're thinking versus thinking about how to analyze every little detail on the lab. You'll start to know what to look for. So Dow of Simplicity is that whole 80-20 principle that many of you have studied, where 80% of your results come from 20% of the clients you're working with, comes from 20% of the activities you're doing, it comes from 20% of whatever is your unique ability or your capability to really be talented at those things. That's how you get simple, is you learn to stay within your parameters of what you love doing. And believe me, there are people out there who love doing your taxes. They love being a bookkeeper. They love ordering inventory. They love answering the phone and keeping your schedule filled up. I promise those people are out there, and so that's not you. You probably have bigger interests, or different interests. I shouldn't say bigger. They're all important. Okay, so score yourself on that. Where did you rate yourself on a score of 1 through 12? Number 3, the Tao of least resistance. And this is the old saying that 80% of life is predictable, 20% is random. And this is where, there's a book by Stephen Pressfield called Go and Turning Pro that I'd absolutely recommend you guys look into. But this is a little bit of where this mantra comes from, and there's a lot of verses, obviously, in the Tao Te Ching that you can reach into and learn from this. But 1 through 3, you feel trapped in the chaos around you and see that humanity is in a downward spiral. So if you want to know the biggest source of resistance for what is and what's going on in the universe, watch the news. Turn on Fox News, NPR, whatever station. It all is about resistance. It's a fear of the future, the uncertainties and the storm that's coming in, or the drought, or the floods, and you see that we just resist the way that nature flows. We resist patterns in life. 4 through 6, you feel increasingly vulnerable to everything around and would like to better handle unpredictability. So those of you who feel like, wow, I don't know with Obamacare, that was a whole crazy process that we all went through, especially those of you who do bill third-party payers. We got out of it because I saw that the unpredictability was creating too much vulnerability, and I had to learn how to do just straight cash collections and it's made my life at 10 times. That created a 10 times result for me. But many of you don't know how to handle the unpredictability. And so this would be your mindset right now when we talk about the Dow of the least resistance, because interestingly, water is, it flows, it moves in the direction that it needs to. It goes into the path of least resistance. And sometimes we resist things like waking up in the morning. We resist creating that new content, getting on the YouTube channel and actually putting something meaningful out there for people. We resist the opportunity to create teamwork. We just want to be the boss. We just want, maybe you don't even want to work. Maybe you just want to let your clinic go and you have no connection to it. All these things, that we resist what we really what we're destined to do. So this would be yours. 7 through 9, you are comfortable in managing both knowns and unknowns and are detached from outcomes. So this is like someone who's like, oh, you're a perfect Zen master, congratulations. But and maybe that's where you are right now, and there's nothing wrong with it, except it's going to get boring. I promise. I've been there. Okay, 10 through 12. You now understand that the larger the opportunity is, the greater the resistance will be. So this is the Tao of least resistance, is understanding that exactly where you feel resistance, that's the beast that you want to kill. You want to slay that thing as quickly as possible, because that's where your opportunity lies. And it's, as we get into the next mindset, you'll see that flows in perfectly. But the resistance is that thing that nudges you, that tells you, go to a movie, no sense in writing tonight, or no sense in thinking or being with your family or being present. Maybe you should just have a couple more drinks, or don't worry about going to the gym. That there's other things, you can get it later. You can figure that out in the future. Or don't worry about writing in your journal or doing the mindset morning or meditation, because it's fine, it will still be there. Resistance is that subtle energy that pulls you away from your purpose. And so the Tao of least resistance is when you acknowledge that resistance is there. And you'll find this weekend, as we go through this training, we'll show you how you can acknowledge the resistance when it's there and recognize that. Because even you right now, you guys are resisting. You're like, well, maybe I'll score myself on this, maybe I won't. Maybe what Reagan has to say is important, maybe it's not. But I'll tell you what, if you're on this webinar, you're here for a reason, and the reason is for you to get fully present and engaged in this process. So score yourself on that particular mindset. Okay, let's move on to mindset number 5. Mindset number 4, the Tao of obstacles. From the Tao Te Ching, verse 22, yield and overcome, bend and be straight, wear out and be new. So 1 through 3, you have overcome more in life than anyone you know and don't need anyone's help or inspiration. So think about all the obstacles you've overcome. I mean, you made it through school. You're top 1% of people. I mean, you have a successful practice, you have a big vision, you have work that you love. I mean, you've created a life that most people only dream of. And it's only going to get better, but you also realize that there's big obstacles that you've overcome, and there's even greater ones to come if you want to move on to something bigger. So 4 through 6 is where you move from kind of being in that victim mode, the blame mode, where you feel sorry for yourself, versus you go to the next stage, which is where you realize that obstacles are stepping stones, but you seem to be getting problems with no growth. So you see this as an opportunity, but you're also not experiencing growth. So you're not really learning from your difficulties. So one of the things I'd recommend you do right now is think about, we're at a brand new year. Think about the top 5 coolest things that happened to you in 2016. What are the biggest achievements that you had in 2016? Maybe you published your first book, or you were able to create a really powerful presentation for a group of patients or potential clients. Maybe you treated more patients than ever. Maybe you had a best ever year. But think about the best thing that have happened over the last 90 days or over the last 365 days. And now think about the biggest things that you're excited about right now. Write down the 5 major things that you're most excited about right now and get those down and just see how cool that feels that you're actually working on these things you've always wanted to be working on. And then now write down 5 achievements that you want to make in 2017. What are those cool things? And then once you have those all written out, then you're going to come back and you're going to say, well, what are the obstacles that will get in the way of me accomplishing these goals? And actually, one of the biggest things you can do in creating growth out of obstacles is just write out what the obstacles will be before you're ever faced with them. That's just exactly how we train you on in the report of findings is you bring up the barriers, you bring up the obstacles for them moving forward in care before they ever have a chance to do that. It's the same in your life, so pretty cool. All right, 7 through 9, you have successfully overcome all the major obstacles in life and are happy with things the way they are. And 10 through 12, you love the obstacles that come your way because they are your biggest gold mines. You see them as like, oh man, I'm so happy that I was able to learn that insurance was a big obstacle to my growth because now I just flipped it and I don't use insurance and I make it to the person's benefit and they have no obstacles with it because I know how to overcome that barrier. So yeah, I'm just giving you an example. There's many more. One of my biggest obstacles was creating a team that I actually trusted, that I was willing to give them 100% control over their job and let them work at it, let them make mistakes and learn from their mistakes and not require any justification or anything like that. But what I found is, man, in the process of doing that, when I just handed everything over, they were excited and they love that because now they've got a chance to shine and they can do it without me looking over their shoulders. So big obstacle for many of you is trusting other people to help you. And I'm telling you, that's a big old gold mine right there. You can multiply yourself so much faster and multiply your purpose, help more people. Okay, let's go to number 5, the Dow of Perfection. How many of you are perfectionists, type A's? Let me see who's on here again. Yeah, we've got some type A's on here for sure. Holy cow. I'm not going to call out names, but you guys know who you are. So, okay. But the Tao of Perfection, from the second verse in the Tao Te Ching, the work is done and then forgotten. So that basically what it's saying is don't hold on to things. You want to create some work that's going to withstand the test of time. The only way to do that is if you aren't expecting it to be some marvelous masterpiece. You just have to do the work and avoid the resistance. So 1 through 3. You don't ever see any way to have the time to finish your work to the levels that people expect. So you feel like everyone's got all these expectations, like, oh man, I had a typo in there, or people want so much out of me, I don't have time. So once again, this is the energy of blame or unfairness or reactivity. That's where you're coming from if this is your mindset. But just rate yourself and try not to be too judgmental, but be judgmental at the same time so you can see where your mindset is. And so is this you? 4 through 6, you procrastinate both starting and finishing projects that are important because you don't make time. And this is, I fall into this category so often because, yeah, I start so many things. But then I find the next shiny object and I'm running over to it and I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful. And I don't take time to finish the project. So the biggest area where resistance will start to tackle you is in the finishing of that project. So in order to start something, you have to commit to finish it. And I've been so much better the last year, and I think hopefully all of you who have been with me the last year have probably experienced that, and hopefully you appreciate it because yes, it's a big thing. I had to move my mindset first because if you look at procrastination and perfection, these are the same. This is the same coin, two sides of the same coin. So if you are procrastinating, the most beautiful thing in the world is right now you can name one thing that you're procrastinating and it just sticks with you. You're just like, oh, I need to get back to my banker. I need to get back to my associate or whoever you need, my wife. I need to have that difficult conversation. Whatever it may be, look at whatever you're procrastinating right now, the biggest thing that you're procrastinating, and ask yourself why you're procrastinating it, And usually it's because you don't feel like you are ready. You don't have, things aren't ready. So you have this perfectionist mindset that the timing needs to be right with my wife, or I need to have this PowerPoint's got to look a little more polished before I'm comfortable releasing it, or I want to write that book, but I just, I need a little more time. And so perfection and procrastination, they go hand in hand. You want things to be, you want the circumstance to be perfect. You want the outcomes to be perfect. Basically, you want to guarantee that what you're going to do, the action you take, is going to have the outcome that you expect. And that's the guarantee. And so you need to work for the government if this is you, if you're a big procrastinator, because they appreciate that type of mentality. 7 through 9, you already have accepted that you are doing the best you can and have a legacy that you enjoy. And then 10 through 12, you see that procrastination is the key to knowing how to prioritize the activities that yield your best results. So the beautiful thing about perfection and procrastination is that's how you prioritize. That's how you can really find out, okay, this energy that's being consumed by me because I'm procrastinating, putting in wellness programs or having a conversation or figuring out how to put stem cell therapy into your office, whatever you're procrastinating, that's what you need to prioritize. It becomes your #1 priority. So pretty powerful. So write out, what's your score on that one? Okay, now we're going to move on to number 6, one of my favorites. Actually, these are all my favorites, but as you can see, we're kind of flowing in. Now that you've stopped procrastinating, now you're moving into, okay, now I'm working. All right, so time and effort, the Dow of time and effort. Before receiving, there must be giving. Achieve greatness in little things. So these 2 verses are from chapter 36 and chapter 63 in the Tao Te Ching. So 1 through 3, you put in a massive amount of time and effort into your work, and don't make enough money for it. So once again, that's kind of the reactivity, the blame game that we can all, your mindset's going to fluctuate, and it's going to drop into this where you look at the end of the month and you're like, I cannot believe that I just worked. I worked my ass off the entire month, and what do I have to show for it? Nothing. And it's not fair, and this needs to change, and I'm confused, and I'm demoralized, and you're pointing fingers at the economy, or you're saying it's because Trump was elected president, it's because Obamacare, wasn't in your favor. I mean, there's a lot of external things that you can do that, and you can stick with this mindset. You can see where it's going to take you, which is nowhere. 4 through 6. You've always been taught that working harder and longer is the only way to succeed, and want another path. Because I grew up this way. As you know, I grew up on a farm in Idaho, and it was sun up to sundown, and it was nice when we got lunch, and we would eat, and then we'd go back to work, and the sun would go down, and we'd work, and then we'd go in. And it was, it was very typical. And so I was always rewarded. Kate remembers our grandpa was an amazing man, one of the most kind, loving individuals you'll ever meet on the planet of the earth. He's passed away now, unfortunately, but he used to always say, man, you're such a good toiler. Like, that was his word. He's like, you're a hard worker, you're a toiler, and that's where I'd get rewarded. My grandmother, my mom, that was the whole thing is, as a man, you go work. And as a woman, you work, but you work in different areas. And I know it's 2017. You guys don't need to remind me that, but this is how I grew up. And working hard was the only method. You work harder, you work longer, you're going to succeed. And even, Elon Musk, he's like, well, if other companies are working 40 to 50 hours on it, and we're putting in 80 to 100 hours, we'll get there in half the time. And, that's fine, but man, that's not the Tao of the healthcare entrepreneur. And I know I have a whole training on Elon Musk, but that's more about innovation. But use your innovation to work smarter, not harder. And that's the whole goal. So a lot of us have been taught that working harder and longer is the only way to succeed. And getting that out of your subconscious brain can be one of the most empowering things that you can ever do. I used to feel guilty when I took a day off, but the only way that I actually was able to grow 10 times is when I started taking more time off. And I wasn't taking time off just to work on the business. I took time off to work on myself and to enjoy my life. And I took off Tuesdays for almost 10 years. I took off Tuesdays and I took off Fridays. And it was, the most impactful thing that I could have done because I wasn't working. I was just rejuvenating myself. So we'll get down to rejuvenation in a minute, but pretty interesting. So maybe this is your mindset right now. If it is, we need to identify that. Okay, 7 through 9. Your whole practice is to work as little as possible with the least amount of effort. So you're already there. 10 through 12, you're transforming yourself with teamwork, technology, and tools that you love and others love you for. So this is the big way to grow 10 times is think about how you're transforming yourself with all this cool technology. Like there's people on this webinar. We have a couple who aren't even in this country. We have people who are from all over, and that's because technology allows us to be here together, which in my mind is beautiful. It's a miracle, right? It's magic. But technology is a big one. Teamwork is even bigger. I talked about that, how you can just multiply your efforts just by trusting people and bringing the right people on your team. And then tools are the systems. So that's where you have pre-education tools. You have tools that get people very interested in what services you're offering. You have tools for patient retention. You have tools for sales. You have tools for offering more services. You have tools for presentations. I mean, all these tools are so key, and tools are invaluable in my opinion because, like for example, the cost of our Healthcare Entrepreneur Program is pennies based on what you can get in return for the amount of tools that you get from this program. So I know many of you on this have already experienced that and will continue to experience it because these tools are tools you can use for the long run. It's not like we're going to be changing. We change all the time, but the overall principles stay the same. So time and effort, where do you mark yourself on that one? Let's go to number 7, no more competition. And this one is from the Tao Te Ching, verse 81. The more he gives to others, the greater is his abundance. So this is beautiful. The Tao of no more competition, no competition. This is a key component. So as you can see, now you're working really hard. You got a 10 times mindset. Now you got to simplify. You've got to get rid of the resistance. You've got to use your obstacles as stepping stones. You've got to prioritize your tasks and the projects you're working on by what you're procrastinating. You don't want to have time and effort. You want to start using your teamwork, your technology, and tools you have. And then you start getting rid of competition because what you become is your own brand, your own individual, because nobody can do the same things like you do, Dr. Antori or Dr. Jones. And Anna, nobody can do things quite the way you can in your acupuncture practice, right? So these are all like unique gifts that we all have. Now we forget that, but 1 through 3, what you see, here's the mindset that can come in, is you see that everyone is competing against you and you don't have the resources to keep up. This is where you just feel like, wow, I saw an ad in the newspaper, and I don't know if any of you ever get a little anxious, or you're like, oh, someone's doing exactly what I'm doing, and I've had many conversations with our clients about this. Don't get worried about that. Of course, you've got to tweak your message so that it's exactly who you are, and nobody is who you are. Your DNA is different, even though it's 99.9% the same. So, but this is where you bump up against. 4 through 6, you see the uniqueness that your practice offers, but can't see how you don't compete. So yeah, this is where you just get stuck in that, like it's confusing because you're saying, well, I offer, functional medicine and stem cells and acupuncture, but so do they. How am I different? The way you don't compete is you start naming your process. And in our report of findings module, if you guys, there's several of you who are signed up for that, it's February 18th in Salt Lake City. We're going to have a ski day the day before at Solitude, so get ready. But we're going to help you name your unique process, and it's going to be one of the coolest things that you do. So yeah, and that's completely unique to your clinic, and there's no competition there when people understand your uniqueness. And that's that's how we differentiate ourselves with our stem cells, is nobody's providing acupuncture following stem cell procedures, and acupuncture is actually, they've done research and they've shown that acupuncture does increase the mobilization and proliferation of stem cells versus not receiving stem cells after a stem cell transplant. So huge. 7 through 9, you are renowned in your community as the very best doctor and don't see any competition. So you're already there. You got it figured out, bro, and congratulations. You don't need to change. You don't need to do anything different or think different because you've already become renowned and you're very famous or well known. 10 through 12, you're confident in your ability to always create and grow in new ways that serves everyone. Now, I love that mindset because this is what I'm always trying to do. I mean, it's great to have a nice reputation, which I really enjoy, a good reputation in my community, in my state, in my professional organizations, but I'm not stopping. I'm always looking for ways to grow and create more value for each one of you. Number 8, lifetime rejuvenation. This is probably the coolest one because the Dow of the lifetime rejuvenation is where you all need to start. But as a tree is great as a man's embrace, shoots from a small shoot. Verse 64 in the Tao Te Ching. This is also right there, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You guys know this, so if you're going on a long journey, and I hope all of you are in this for the long haul, we want you to be loving your practice more when you're 85 than you do now at the age of 45 or however old you are. So 1 through 3, you wish you could enjoy your life more and work less, but you don't have anyone to count on. So once again, you feel like you can't take care of yourself because you have no one to count on. Your relationships aren't supportive. Your practice is not supportive. You've got a mean landlord. You've got your front desk is probably going to rip you off. You've got associates who are greedy. You've got all these things coming against you, right? So once again, that's where our mindsets can fall into. We can just feel like there's no abundance around us. And so how can you rejuvenate your body and your health and your mind if there's nothing around you to provide support or healing? 4 through 6, this is where you take time to work on yourself, but feel like you aren't nearly as successful as you could be. So you blocked out, you take a Saturday and Sunday off and congratulate yourself, or whatever it may be. Maybe you only work 2 days a week. But what you feel like is, you're trying to rejuvenate yourself, but it's not really moving the needle in any meaningful way. You're not noticing any growth in relationships. You're not noticing any growth in revenue. You're not noticing any growth in skill set. And so, maybe this could be where you're at. And this is where it becomes necessary. And we have a mantra: you can only evolve as fast as you can learn. And so working on yourself, one of the big things you always want to work on is learning. And that doesn't have to be, interestingly enough, you can go learn how to do tango or learn how to snowboard or learn how to do a completely different activity and think that that's not going to help you grow, your practice grow, but absolutely it will. These things they're all linked in. So always learning, always growing. 7 through 9, you're proud to have the lifestyle that you've always desired and are secure in what it offers. So yeah, that's where you're just like, oh cool, I've got a great lifestyle, things are working on their own, I'm secure in this. I go on my vacations, I got a member of the country club, I'm golfing as often as I'd like to, life is good. And you can see these mindsets in 7 through 9, they work really well temporarily, but it's sort of like the superficial external form of success that the world gives you. That's where you have status, you've got the right lifestyle, you got $1 million that's coming in all the time, you got millions in the bank, and you don't really need to work, and you're just sort of like, you're there and you're just appreciating the rewards that you're getting all the time. But you can see that that's going to get boring. It's going to run out, and the universe will want everything back before long. So not a safe place to be, but a lot of us get stuck there. A lot of you have very successful practices, and you say, man, Reagan, why would I do anything different, anything new? Because look at what I'm doing. And I said, well, okay, well, that's not going to last. I mean, things change. Unfortunately, we wish that the universe would just keep throwing us the same ball and we could hit it out of the park every time. Boom, boom, boom. But things change dramatically, and our industry is going to change more in the next 10 years than it has in the last 100 years. And I can promise you that. You can quote me on that one because I've already seen it. I mean, I'm already experiencing the changes, and it's been more in the last 5 years than it has been in the last 50. So I don't see why it wouldn't change more over the course of the next 5 years than it has over the last 100 years. So, okay, so 10 through 12, this is where your ambition keeps growing because you realize that everything will expand and needs to expand. And that's the beautiful thing about it. There's things that need to burn out and you need to kill them. Just like a forest fire. When I was at Glacier National Park last summer, I saw the most gorgeous sight. I mean, it was where a wildfire had come a couple years before and just blazed down so much of the forest. And it's devastating if you look at it compared to the other forest with all the trees and the foliage. It was gone, but it was so gorgeous when I started walking down in there. You had the contrast of these burnt trees sticking up out of the ground, the kind of the cool looking gray charcoal colors, and then on the forest floor was all these beautiful flowers. I mean, purple, beautiful oranges, yellows. I mean, it was an incredible sight, and I saw that as like it's a rejuvenation. It's time to kill off old systems, old ideas, and put something new in. And so your ambition, it's going to keep growing and growing. Things get more exciting that way. We do want to work with people who have large ambitions, not people who want to just, kind of get to a certain level and stop. But, we got other people to help. There's a whole industry that needs to be transformed and disrupted. And you guys are on the forefront of that whole movement. So hopefully this has been inspiring today. Those are your keys for being an empowering leader. You've got to learn how to control and confront everything that's going on in between your ears. That's the most important work you can do. We're going to be working as groups and individually with you this weekend, so get registered. Once again, this is in LA, the Marina Del Rey Marriott. Our next event is going to be the Report of Findings Mastery, and that is a separate module, and many of you have signed up for that. If you have not yet signed up for it, you missed the early bird discount, but we will be offering a discount coming up in the next couple weeks here. Won't be nearly as awesome, but it'll still be awesome. So that's in February, and then we've got March 31st, April 1st, April 2nd is the next functional medicine event in Salt Lake. So thanks everybody. How'd you guys do on your quiz? Anyone in the looks like some of you are in the 6 to 10. Okay, 10, good.
Mike had a lot of 10s.
Yeah, good. Okay, awesome. All right.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the feedback, guys. And yeah, if you haven't had a chance to get registered, or if you're wondering how to get registered, email me at info@gowellness.com. You can send that to either myself. Reagan will get that as well, so you can send questions there, anything. But we're really looking forward to this weekend and having an amazing time. So please get registered if you haven't, and we'll have an amazing event.
Oh, cool. And Armin Sutherland, thank you for wow, that's a crazy experience you've had, the near-death experiences. And what he wrote is he's energetically, vibrationally, spiritually connected with the universe, several near-death experiences, major thing that causes me to recover from slow death by poisoning. Wow. Book cover design suggestion, may I add some graphics for radiating waves, vibration, or to that man figure. I love that. Great idea. Thanks so much. And appreciate you guys' participation. Can't wait to see you. Charles, we're going to get your 6s to 10s and 12s this weekend. So get yourself out there. Michael Busey, congrats. But keep going. We want to see 12s. Cool. All right, everybody. Love you guys. Take care.
Have a good one.